Super Mind Stretchers. That's got a charm to it.
Ben's being very gracious, letting me still record because he has young children. And
oh, dearie me.
Oh, here he is. How's everything with the offspring?
Oh, look, still writhing around. He does not sleep in his own bed at the moment, which is a shock because he was for a while. And then
goes to show you never can tell.
What's that song?
Goes to show you never can tell. It's in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. It was a teenage
wedding. Old folks wished him well.
Who would that be? I can't even place that.
Yeah.
Artist.
I should know who that is.
Yeah,
Josh would know who that is.
Quiz question. All right.
Josh is on my music quiz night table, and so's Aaron Nash.
Well,
my dream table. I would not be on mine.
Really?
Nowhere near.
You'd be on mine then. So what does that say about mine?
You would not.
We would lose.
You would
to
not
yours.
beat mine.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
I don't know if I'd be happy about that. Like the one I'm on or the one I put together.
Is there a league like where equivalent of like trading players from like one sports franchise to another? You can.
Yeah.
Like we could have like trivia night table leagues, and it's just about.
Yeah.
You know, you could have been a Collingwood player who then comes over to this team or something, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So your heart's always with that table, but you're over on my table now. But then we play your table, and then.
And I frequent a quiz night that's specifically a music quiz night.
Mm-hmm.
And that if that table moved to another quiz night that was just a normal quiz night, like a general knowledge quiz night, that would be like a team moving leagues. It would be like when they did the thing with the international rules when they put together an Australian team and an Irish team, because Gaelic football and Australian rules football sort of there's some overlap in style and pace. And so they sort of melded the rules into the international rules sometime in the late 90s, early 2000s. I've still got a Guernsey from an Irish international rules Guernsey that I got from my sister. Yeah.
So they still play it. Wait, when you say they melded the rules in, like...
Yeah. So I think...
they still play Gaelic football though, don't they? Or...
They still play Gaelic football and they still play Australian rules football.
Yeah.
But they did an exhition
I
series.
see.
It only lasted a few years, I think. But it was just like just a bit of fun. And
What's the etiquette here? Do I like lean into the mic while I'm chewing my sort of wet?
I mean, I do. Like on the other podcast that I do, the Hammerbarn Project, Frank really dislikes it when I eat Oreos on mic.
Oreos are crunchy. That's quite a pleasing sort of sound. This is lasagna. This is kind of wet and a bit like...
If you'd given me the choice of tea, I would have chosen orange and cinnamon. And if you'd given me a choice of like
biscuit,
not particularly pleasant things to listen to being eaten really up close, I reckon lasagna might have made the...
Lasagna's up there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
If
I was eating the salad. I don't know if the salad sounds more pleasant. See, maybe that's another tick in the box for salad.
There's a crispness to a salad.
Yeah, depending on
I tell you what, there's a crispness to anything you're eating.
Oh, Merry Christmas to you, mate. Here we go. Crunch. That could be some Foley work. Actually, between the salad and the lasagna, we could probably get a pretty decent horror film going.
Oh, yeah.
They just sound like very bodily kind of things.
Yeah. The bones breaking was always like celery, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah. Snapping a piece of celery.
Yeah.
I don't have anything big enough in here. The cucumber has been chopped fairly, or sliced, I would call that. Tomatoes have been diced.
I love that the sort of like lettuce. The Hong Kong cinema sort of punch was always like a cane hitting some vegetables, like the
so the kind of thing, like
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, what is that punch noise? That was such a good punch noise.
That was a baseball bat hitting a pile of leather jackets.
Leather, yeah, right. I mean, there's something kind of a pile of leather jackets, right? Yeah, that makes sense.
And that doesn't it just that's just such a manly way of making such a manly sound.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I figured it, for some reason I was picturing a baseball mitt because there's quite a pleasing sound of like a baseball going into a mitt with a really good catch. Quite a pleasing sound when a baseball bat hits a ball. I'll just swallow, so get rid of that little lasagna bubble. I mean, you've caught me in my most Garfield at the moment, I think.
You hate Mondays?
I hate Mondays. I'm eating lasagna. I tell you what, I don't hate Mondays. It's just these Mondays always seem to coincide with, baby not going to sleep. And I don't know, man.
I was whispering to the listeners while you were over in the kitchen with Kate. And I was just saying, I think it's gracious that you still, you have every right to send me packing, but because, the kids and then dinner and everything, you got a lot more going on than me, mate. So
so you think you would be doing me a favor by letting me not podcast with you and going back to putting my kid to bed for another hour?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Had it the wrong way around. This is the problem. This is why I'm just an uncle.
Yeah. You're not wrong. There's a slight variance there. No, we did the trip to Darwin, and I think that's thrown everything off.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, I didn't realize you were in Darwin until you were there, and I was meaning to ask the purpose of the trip.
Well, we got a friend up there, an old family friend. Shout out to Lauren Hoffmeyer. Yeah, is up there. She's been up there.
Of course. I did know that.
20 years, maybe?
It's getting up there.
Almost 20 years. It wouldn't be a full 20 years because she is Katie, my wife's oldest friend since school days.
Shout out to Ya.
Yes, an amazing human being, and her lovely fella Vince and their two boys, Kai and Vance, and their giant Great Dane, Jet.
Oh boy,
that is larger than my two children, who both had a whale of a time with him. Like that, were slightly terrified as well. I don't think they've ever seen a dog as big as them before, or bigger for my baby, for my 1.5-year-old. But no, it was great. But they don't do daylight savings up there. So daylight savings happened, but not to us up there. But then we came back midweek. And we didn't have to do the red eye. Normally you have to do the red eye with Darwin, but we did come back pretty late. The boys didn't go down to like 2 a.m. or something. And then ever since then, those last maybe 4, 5, 6 days. Oh, do it. Come on. You were just holding back a sneeze then.
No, it wasn't
I'm doing lasagna into the microwave.
It wasn't a sneeze. It was like it was sort of like a half burp, this wasn't, listeners, I bet you love this. It wasn't like a full throat. It was like kind of like, is this going to be a burp or is this going to be indigestion? Sort of like kind of uncomfortable, kind of
requiring the. Yeah, that was good. Did you just make the noise of that? That wasn't it, was it? That was
me pretending.
That was a fake one, but I wouldn't have known.
Have to do.
If I was kind of half looking, half not, so that could have been the genuine one coming. Where were we at? I
mean,
Jet.
I know.
I always remember the funny faces.
I wasn't in Darwin. I wasn't in the territory with you, but I felt like I was the other day when I was listening to the pod.
Oh, the solo. So
the solo effort.
There's a weird experience.
I felt like I was taken away.
Yeah,
I felt like I was like on that walk with you.
I don't know how successful it is. I don't know how successful it is when I do a solo podcast. But I think, I would listen to you do one. I would listen to Tom do one. I don't think, is there any times that we just listen to ourselves in life, like just talking like on a recording? It's already weird enough. And I've got one of those voices. I mean, everyone says they don't like their voice when they hear it back recording. But mine is a particularly nasal, adenoidal kind of voice. No, but I'm not saying that as in that's the unpleasant bit. I think what I'm saying is that I wonder what the biggest differentiation is for people who think their voice sounds one way, but it actually sounds another. Because it's to do with it like vibrating up your jawbone or something. Is that right?
Oh.
That what you think your voice sounds like is a combination of your voice bouncing off the world around you, but also the vibrations inside your own skull. That's why you get a not very accurate sense of what your own voice sounds like. But then when you hear it through a recording, you go, oh my gosh, is that what I sound like?
I think the chasm between what I thought I sounded like and what I was shown to sound like from recordings and stuff has shrunk as I've gotten older. I think I have a vivid memory as a kid playing with cassette tapes and recording our voices, and actually kind of being a little bit upset at what I sounded like, because it wasn't at all what I thought I sounded like, and I didn't like it. I remember the sensation of not liking my voice, and I'm wondering if that was because of my age, and whether it's feels closer now because I'm older, or whether it's the society we live in where we're much more frequently having our own voices reflected back at us.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, we're very much more recorded.
Yeah. Or was it the nature of the recordings at the time? Was there something about the EQ and the playback quality and the nature of the quality of because
you're hitting on a few things there.
Yeah,
I reckon when you're a kid, especially as if you're born male, you're probably going to have a higher pitched voice than what you're necessarily going to have later in life. Like if you're born male, your voice will probably pitch down a little bit as you get older. I mean, women's voices do as well, but definitely men's do more. And so if my theory about it reverberating through your skull is right, I reckon your bass notes probably are emphasized more. I reckon your own voice probably sounds deeper to you because you're getting the bass vibrations through your body, through your skull, like up via your your larynx, up your esophagus, up your neck, up your throat. I don't know. I'm testing my names for things now. So that would be one thing. That's one of my hypotheses. I'm grabbing at words and just hoping that I'm using them right.
Yeah.
The next thing I reckon is, were you saying that as you got older, you were more used to hearing your own voice, or you more? What was?
When I listen back to my voice, I'm not surprised at the way it sounds.
But because you've heard it more, you reckon this is what I'm saying. One part of the theory.
I'm not. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was because I've been trained on hearing my voice, that I know so well what my voice sounds like.
Yeah. Well, as a podcaster and a musician and an actor and someone who's probably recorded more than other people, even on top of the society we live in now.
Yeah. Right? I was wondering if you just, once you're presented with how you sound, do you naturally just go marry that up and then not notice it? Right. Or does that not naturally happen, and it's happened for me because I've listened to myself so much?
Yeah.
Or
well, and the third thing was the technology, which I do reckon has the bass notes and bass tone and the fidelity of recording has definitely gotten...
Fidelity is the word I was reaching for.
Better?
Before,
there you go. So I got one right.
Yeah.
Because I always thought that was really funny. So there's people like... so Mel Gibson for me is a classic. When you listen to Mel Gibson's voice, there's a lot... This is with a lot of actors, but like when you watch movies from the 70s versus movies in the 80s or 90s...
Yeah.
Now, there's a few things going on here as well, but I like that later. I think I was probably introduced to Mel Gibson in his later movies and could hear his deeper bass notes. But then you go back and you watch Mad Max or something, and I don't know if that would have been pre-Dolby, or I know Dolby was a big change in the way that the sound of movies changed as well. But, Mel Gibson is talking like this when he's in, even in Lethal Weapon, he's not really hiding his Australian accent very much. But then Mad Max is like, suddenly, Mad Max is talking up here, and Mel Gibson is like that.
Should we talk like this for the rest of the podcast?
Yeah, we'll talk like they used to talk in the old 1970s TV shows. So there's a lot of that. The accent, obviously. But then there's that really, and this is where the nasal thing comes in, doesn't it? Because that's that like nasal Australian style. But then I also read that, and this makes a lot of sense, I suppose, but a lot of actors, especially a lot of male actors, do just pitch their voice deeper as they transition from being younger actors, especially if they were known when they were younger. So they already had a slightly high, if they were coming out of their late teens, early 20s, once they get into their 30s or 40s and they want to be like a leading man or an action star, especially like if they want to be seen as very masculine and very physically a presence on screen, they'll pitch their voice down and gravelly up their voice because they're trying to emulate the sound of maybe the older fashioned sound of people that had smoked a lot of cigarettes and really treated their voices poorly.
Yeah.
But now they'll do it to themselves and they'll go to voice coaches, and some of them really mess their voices up trying to do it. But you do notice it, don't you, with like Pacino, Alec Baldwin has that bit about like the two Al Pacinos. And he does that. I don't know. I can't do the voices. My Pacino always comes out as Pumbaa from The Lion King if I try and do it. But
that's my family, Kay. That's not me. You know, like when
that's just pretty good. Like, that was like, Godfather. Yeah.
You know, told him that his that like earlier it would be like that either his signature or his brains would be on that contract. Yeah, that's a true story. Yeah, or like really, and then later,
then all of a sudden,
what do you got?
Yours stays on the Pacino side. I can't do it, and it turns into, come on, this is what
I couldn't picture the Pumbaa, and now I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, but I wonder if that will be a phenomenon going forward, or whether because from what I can see of my sister's kids and like living with them, there's always videos being taken of the kids, growing up and playing, and then they'll be like, can I see? And before they can even ask if they can see, that they're seeing these videos going, oh, that's me. And so it's almost like that gap between what they think they sound like and what they're shown by technology that they sound like, will that gap even have a chance to exist?
Yeah, that's interesting. Hey,
because they'll I think that surely that the marrying that up and realizing, okay, that's what I sound like externally, that will happen before they even are old enough to remember it happening. I don't know.
There's a similar thing with what you look like, I think, isn't there? Because I was just going through this in my head thinking, is it the same for what you look like? Because kids recognize themselves in a mirror, and we can look in a mirror, but when you look in a mirror, you can only see a very particular perspective of yourself.
Sure.
So it can be surprising to see yourself photographed.
You can try. You can look there on the side and then really quickly turn, but
try to do it quicker than the light.
Yeah, it never worked.
Were you a kid that tried to jump into bed before the light turned off when you flicked the switch?
Yeah.
Is that a Terry Pratchett thing where it's like the dark is faster than light? The speed of dark is faster than the speed of light. There's some kind of fun pseudo philosophy from one of those authors, I reckon. But kids will recognize themselves in a reflection, but you can definitely. I mean, the reason we kind of want to keep reposing for our selfies, or you see yourself and I don't like myself in that photo, I think must be because sometimes you're not seeing exactly an angle that you're familiar with of yourself, so that doesn't resonate with you as you, but that's how the world sees you, because everyone else is normally looking at you from 100 different other angles. So really other people have probably got a better sense of what you look like than you, just because of that. But now kids are being photographed more, or we're taking more selfies, or we're constantly being documented. Even just the novelty of appearing on the TV screen is not as much of a novelty, because you can cast your pictures up, or you take videos and put it up, or appearing on a screen on a moving image is not a novelty anymore. Like, will never be a novelty again for a generation.
Yeah.
Whereas, our generation is like,
it was a big deal.
Yeah, and I wonder how much of that factors into our careers in media and things like that, and what kids will grow up thinking. Like, does it have the same meaning to them or not? Although I think my sister-in-law was telling me that my niece and they saw camera crew at the beach and were excited to go, and she's still kind of an age to be able to go, oh, I want to be on the news, I want to be on TV, and
there's still is something, I think.
Maybe it's the difference between a professional crew, and seeing all the gear, because that won't ever happen. I don't think it'll ever be selfies and all that kind of thing are meant to be quick and easy and low barrier to entry. And maybe the barrier to professional filmmaking will get lower, but still, there's never going to be a novelty to people going, no, I'm going to cart around a tripod and a big camera and a full frame thing. Like, unless you're really into, if you are a a photographer and that's your thing, and you're going to have a mirrorless or a decent camera, more people will just be taking selfies and videos and things. So maybe there's a novelty there.
Yeah.
Is there an equivalent of people changing the way they look as they get older? Probably not. The pitching the voice down thing, though, that was that thing. Remember, was it Elizabeth Holmes, the woman that got busted for the Theranos company? That was her. That was part of the narrative around her, was that she would pitch her voice deeper to be taken more seriously as a woman in a world of business because she was a young woman.
That rings a bell.
She kind of that hit the media because it was in that spate of big business scandals, and she kind of got done for fraud, and her company was the one that claimed that they could take like a pinprick of blood and do all the pathology testing that you'd normally have to do a full blood scan for. But that was just a small part of the narrative, but something that stuck in my mind because what's the name of the woman, the actor and voice coach? I'll find it and I'll put it in the notes for this.
Sure.
There's a cool actor, and she also does a lot of voice work, and she does voice coaching, and she wrote a book called Inside Voice, which is a great name for this book, all about the voice, the human voice.
Right.
And she deconstructs a lot of different aspects of voice and how people think about their voices. Like one of the things she goes into, one of the chapters that she reads in the audiobook version that appeared on a podcast I listened to was about sexy baby voice, which was like the phenomenon of women and young women having and that strange phenomenon of I guess it taps into what do they call it? Madonna whore phenomenology of the sort of societal expectations of women to both be hypersexualized but also completely innocent and pure and virginal, and this bizarre forced dichotomy of that. But it was a really interesting, and what's really fun about the audiobook is that she can do all the voices she's talking about as she's describing it all. It's actually one of the best books to get in audiobook form for that reason, because it's so much about voice, and she's an incredibly proficient impressionist and just can tap into all these different things with her own voice. And it just blows your mind, like how much training you can do to your voice and how much you can use your voice. As, it wouldn't blow the minds of professional singers and people, but for the layperson, right, to think about the voice as an instrument and a muscle that can be really finely attuned, it's amazing. The sexy baby voice thing, though, she went right back and talked about, like there's Marilyn Monroe, and she pulls apart. This is the part that I think you would dig, is like is trying to pull apart all the ingredients. So there's like the breathiness of the Marilyn Monroe style, but then there's the she's got better words for it all. But there's like the Paris Hilton voice of, there's a slight kind of squeakiness to it, but then there's a little bit of a vocal fry, that kind of crackly thing. But she can kind of pick apart. But that's just one chapter. She goes through all different styles of voice and all the components to it, and then all the cultural and social reasons.
Makes me wonder how it would work as a book, not an audiobook.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm
like, I know nothing about this, so I'm sure she's perfectly capable of writing it down. But
no, I guess it's pretty academic, some of it as well. So, is it Lake Bell? Is that an actor? I think that might be her. But anyway, I'll have to go and edit it if it's incorrect. Oh, you've pulled me out of my Garfield funk, mate. I think it started when...
is that a good thing?
I think so. Okay. Yeah. We're drifting more into Odie territory.
Odie was an answer to the one of the clues on the New York Times crossword the other day.
Oh,
it was
do you remember
a cartoon dog with a big red tongue, and my sister got it.
A big red tongue. See, I don't even think of Garfield in color, but
Odie kind of hangs his tongue out all the time.
Of course, Garfield is bright, like yellowy orange with stripes when I picture Garfield. But then I'm always thinking of it in the Saturday paper or whatever, like the printed or the funny section.
Yeah.
Did you ever use that expression, the funnies?
The funnies.
I know that's an expression, but it's not Australian, is it? We never call it that.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I always think of it as black and white, though.
Sure.
Same as like, what did you think of Phantom, the Phantom comic? That was always a puzzler for me because it was 3 panels that they used to put in the paper.
Yeah.
Of a in-depth ongoing story.
Yeah.
And there's not, what can you capture in 3 panels of a Phantom comic? But what a strange, why would that be
pretty sure
thing?
The Phantom's a pretty cool, like, hero.
Oh, the comics are great. I love the full books. Like
I think I can remember enjoying that. And I also, I thought, I still made a point to read it because I wanted to read all the comics. But I still just went, yeah, I don't know what's happening here.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd look at it and you go, okay, maybe this week if I just really concentrate and look, these 3 panels, I'll be able to figure out from context. But it would always be the most bizarre out of context. It's like he would be in his regular like trench coat, like secret identity costume at an airport. And then he'd be like checking his ticket, and then he'd be on the plane, and there'd be a transition to some other like moment of him looking at a diamond in a case in a museum, and then that's the end of the 3 panels. And you're like, okay, all right.
Yeah, and I think I used to get a giggle out of the ones that revealed the least. Like, like he'd be like, "Oh, good to see you." Yes, good to see you too. And then that was it.
That's what they should do. The New York Times should just do the 3 out of context Phantom panels and get you to write a caption for that instead of the caption contest that they do, where they do the.
And who was the illustrator? Was it Lee Falk?
Lee Falk, I think. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Look, see,
I don't remember anything about any of the stories, but I remember the stylized.
I think he was Australian. Was he Lee Falk?
Very possibly.
I don't know if he was an expat, but I think there's an Australian. I'm sure there's an Australian connection to Phantom.
Did I go to the studio where they drew them? I think I might have gone to the studio where someone did the.
I can't answer this for you. I've not heard this story. So in Australia, you're thinking, or in the US?
Maybe when I was in primary school.
I see. Now I'm connecting what kind of story you're talking about.
Australia that they did possibly. It for a while.
There's definitely an Australian connection. I think maybe it was an Australian comic, or it was an Australian originated comic. Because it's definitely
because I knew that there'd been like artists who picked it up and took on the helm and did it for a while, and then.
Ghost Who Walks. That's what they call him.
Ghost Who Walks, that's right.
What did you think of the Billy Zane 1990s, I'm going to say 1994
Don't remember much about it. I do remember seeing, you remember when they used to do the Saturday Night movie when it was a big deal, like sometimes they would put on a little featurette beforehand or afterwards on the making of?
Yeah.
I can remember seeing the making of...
This Saturday. Billy Zane.
Yeah.
The Phantom.
And it was, there was like a thing on how they made the bridge so high. There was a scene, like a sort of like almost like Temple of Doom-esque kind of high bridge scene.
Yep, very much.
And they did one where like they have to digitally composite a higher drop underneath this bridge. And
I would never have remembered this, but as you're describing that, I'm picturing the exact thing of a bridge that they built over a very shallow chasm and then CGI'd in. Because it was right at that sweet spot of there's this CGI or computer generated.
Yeah, because that would have been late 90s that movie was.
I reckon it was early. I reckon it was like mid 90s. I've got 94 in my head for some reason.
Okay.
Because Titanic was 97.
Yeah.
And I reckon Billy Zane was kind of...
good point.
He had his little... I reckon the Phantom... didn't quite hit, but he was still supposed to be this rising star. Dead Calm, I reckon, had been
because he was in
a couple of years before that.
He was in a couple of was he in like a series or something?
Yeah, he must have been a TV.
He was
star, surely.
He was one of the cronies in Back to the Future,
famously.
But and then the Mummy was a little bit later. No, he wasn't in The Mummy.
He's not in The Mummy. There's a guy that looks like him.
Yes,
who's in The Mummy.
I'm glad you said that.
That guy really does look a lot like Billy Zane.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
The character actor that plays the Mummy, the titular Mummy in The Mummy.
But what was he? He was.
That's it, really. Dead Calm. I love that. Was a Sam Neill and Nicole Kidman. That's a great thriller.
Never seen it.
It's cool. It's like check that out. And Kidman are like a married couple out on a yachting trip, like out on a boat. They come across a capsized, or they come across a ship like a yacht.
I haven't seen it. I have been with you in a pub when that was playing on the screen, and you told me what was on.
Right.
I reckon I was at a party, and we were drifting in and drifting out, and I was like, "Oh, this looks creepy. This looks good." Yeah.
No, it's cool. Yeah, but that was the thing. I think Billy Zane never quite broke out of like playing villains and bad guys. Sure. I reckon that was hard for those kind of actors at the time. So like Phantom. See, I wonder, he would have been a good Batman, I reckon. Billy Zane.
He would have been.
Because that's what Batman sort of takes. Mind you, like Michael Keaton was a great Batman and such a inspired choice being like a comedy actor.
Yeah.
This is way before you sort of, I'm trying to think what would be an equivalent, but like way before Breaking Bad does, the funny dad from Malcolm in the Middle is now Breaking Bad. But Michael Keaton playing Batman, I thought was pretty interesting. But then you see the real Michael Keaton these days. Like, Michael Keaton is so good at playing these dark characters.
He's one of the greats.
Yeah.
His face, the subtleties that he can execute.
Yeah, his grin with a real dark tinge in his eyes is just that deserves all the awards on its own.
He's the best. Listen to your friend Billy Zane. He's a cool guy. But I remember seeing that featurette and seeing the composite shot, and it was one of my earlier moments of going, "Oh, filmmaking!" Like the magic behind the composite shot, and thinking, "How did this movie magic? I don't understand it." But watching him do it, like, just kind of felt like I was peeking behind the curtain. I often think about that. That was probably my first, little peek into how it was done, and it really stuck with me.
Yeah, I think that was a cool era of, we've talked about this, I think, on the pod a bit. This idea of, I think I might have even talked about this in the solo ranting that I was doing late night, but that idea of appreciating things by understanding how they work and wanting to understand how something works in order to more deeply understand it and to not demystify it, but to actually appreciate it more.
Yep.
I think I was talking about that magic tricks and things like that, but same sort of thing, right? Like filmmaking, I think it used to be a very like, oh no, this will be a closely guarded secret, and we won't ever show what's outside of the frame because it's all what's in the frame, and it's all really just being held together with gaffer tape, and it's all smoke and mirrors. And we don't really want to, break the illusion. Whereas, I don't know, we've definitely transitioned. It's not for everyone, I know, and I know we are sort of more in the industry, so it's more of interest to us. So not every single person wants to watch the making of a film, but the narrative around the making of a film is such a big part of things now, I think.
Yeah. Well, something that's germane to that, I think, that I saw today, and it made me think of this. It might not be exactly what you think of this, but I saw like this clip of a ventriloquist act on YouTube. It was like old. It was like from the 80s, and it was a stand-up guy. He didn't have a puppet out yet. He had his case with his puppet in it, but he just went up to the microphone and he just went, "Is this thing on?" And he tapped the microphone. And he goes, "I have trouble with microphones." And then he just went, "You hit me." And then he had a conversation with the microphone.
Right.
As if like he was apologizing to the microphone, and then he put this delay on his voice where he'd mouth words and then have his voice come out of his mouth as a ventriloquist, like, so that was delayed.
Yeah.
And all these little tricks, and it was really fun. And I just thought, like, there's the magic to that isn't like so much of a part of the magic that is knowing that he's fooling you and knowing that he's doing that.
Yes.
Because somebody could just do that and have it playing, have the audio of him doing that just playing, and have a conversation with a recording.
Yeah.
But it's obvious enough that he's doing it, and it tickled my brain because I thought, like, I'm watching his lips for the tricks that he's doing. I'm not so perfectly fooled that I think it's just a recording. There's enough imperfection in his art there that's making me go, it is him doing that.
That's such an interesting thing, isn't it?
And because of that, it's all the more impressive and amazing.
The imperfections that make you know that something is real.
Yeah,
we talked about, like, in the Lego movie, them having to add the scratches and the texture to the surface. And I guess that's maybe it's sad that computers and the artificial side of it are going to get so good at replicating imperfections that we're not going to know the difference. But there's something so impressive about people being so good at something that they have to reintroduce imperfections.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking this. I went and saw Cirque du
I
Soleil.
kind of dig that. Like even if it's not, even if they're
I thought
fake.
you said I kind of did that.
No,
I kind of dig that.
I dig that. Yeah,
you're like, I'm like that. I'm so good at stuff.
Even
I have to actually stuff up sometimes so that people really know it's really me. Like,
that is something I would say. But no, I still love that. Even though it's not the thing, even though it's not the work that went into it in a way, even though it's not the organic thing, it's still in this new digital age showing the value of the organic thing and kind of heralding the value, which I really...
Those guys, the Corridor Crew, do you ever watch any of their stuff? Like I've seen a bit of their stuff. That's one of their big themes, I think, is that there are imperfections in reality that if you don't recreate them, our brains detect it, but we don't know why or how we're detecting it. That's what's it's such a great series, that Corridor Crew, like, about VFX. The VFX artists react is like one of their series, or everything they do is really interesting. But that in particular, I thought was so fascinating that it shows how, I wonder how much we, as we're noticing things in VFX when it's bad, we're learning about our own sense of perception. So they were like talking that skin didn't look very good in video games and in films until they started to render semi-transparent layers of skin, because your skin is actually see-through. Harry, my son, is always fascinated with that thing of being able to, like, shine a torch through your fingers.
I still love that.
He's like, I can see through my fingers. And it's like, yeah, right, because actually they're not solid, are they? Like, if you've got a bright enough light, well, X-rays or bright enough, like, radiation, but just light will go through them.
Yeah.
And so the Corridor Crew guys talk about that, about how your skin, when you're up close especially, light is going through the first few layers and bouncing back out, but it's refracting and it's changing. And that's why fake plastic skin or fake rendered skin doesn't look quite the same. But it's very hard to articulate why it doesn't look right. That uncanny valley thing.
Yeah.
Like eyes are always still so weird when they're bad, especially video game eyes. They're getting a lot better. I mean, they're getting phenomenal now, but even when video games started getting so photoreal, there was something dead in the eyes.
Yeah.
And it's something to do with the way that it's always to do with how light, like, reflects off things or moves off things. Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, but they just this idea that you don't know enough about something until you've seen it go wrong, and then it starts to reveal those imperfections in reality, or I'm saying imperfection, those details of reality that are so fascinating. My original point actually was when I went and saw Cirque du Soleil, and they are these incredibly rehearsed performers. And then a trapeze out, it's all just looking like magic. And then all of a sudden they're doing the big trapeze, or they're swinging, or someone's climbing up a thing, and then they wobble, and you go, oh my gosh, they almost fell off then.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And you get this little rush. And then I went back like a week later and saw the same performance again. And then they wobbled in the exact same spot. And I'm like, wow. Okay, so you have had to put in, you're so good at this that there's no risk. We get in the audience so used to watching you do this that we've lost, that we're going to start feeling too comfortable in this.
Sure.
And it's going to lose its effect. So you throw in when it's safe, or that must be why it has to happen in this pretty much the same spot in the same way again, because it would also be rehearsed. You don't want to actually create risk, so you got to create the illusion of risk, so that we in the audience get that feeling in the gut, that thing that Grant Page.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. If you didn't,
you tell us that's.
I've brought it up on the podcast before. I'm sure when you and I were both, you were on set for that season as well, and we got to meet Grant Page and do the stunt sort of like.
Taking
induction.
Squibs, falling.
And this is Grant Page, the stunt coordinator of the Mad Max films, and just a Aussie sort of hero,
stunt legend.
And he was always talking about the new CGI age and how it's amazing. Like you get the wow factor. The wow factor is amazing. But he was a bigger fan of the factor. He called it the factor, where you're not you feel it in your gut because part of you knows the risk and knows that it's real. And that's why. What did I see recently that I just thought? I mean, like the Mission Impossible movies, when you see it, there's still value in going, that is a motorcycle driving off a cliff. And you get that factor because, you can watch all the Marvel movies you like. Try not to knock Marvel movies, but you can watch all that and you know that it was all done on a computer. And it looks amazing.
But what's so frustrating, I guess, this is, old man shouts at cloud or whatever, but because people love them. But the Marvel ones, then I watched some Corridor Crew things, and I watch because they also do stunt performers react, and they break down how stunts work in films, and that's also because it's also tied into CGI and VFX in a way, especially in modern films. But the amount that they're doing for real in the Marvel movies, but you would just assume they weren't because they've then gone and polished it up so much, or they shoot a live actor doing a live thing, and then the VFX artists are, to their credit, so good that they will come in and start doing a wire removal, or like the magic carpet stunt is the one that always disappoints me when I see how good it looks when they're filming it for real versus what they end up doing to it because they have to layer so much. There's a great VFX veteran, a guy that started in the sort of back in the 80s, and he's. Now I'm doing so badly with names, and I'm drifting back into Garfield again.
No. You're there.
He was saying that as soon as you see something in a scene that triggers your brain to go, well, that's not real because that's not from my world. So if it's a VFX, you could be shooting everything beautifully, and then I guess it's that thing of when George Lucas goes back and lays in a CGI alien in a scene that's full of people in costumes and texture and there's real things. For my old man brain, it just suddenly all the air is let out of the balloon, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah. And it's not a conscious thing; it's just your brain going, well, that's a shiny fake thing, so everything else is meaningless now. So in the Marvel movies, like Captain America will be running at full speed after a car. So my brain should be going, well, that car is speeding along at 60, 70, 80 kilometers an hour. And look, there's a human man running and he's catching up to it. And the physical stunt itself is great. It's the magic carpet trick, which is so they have a rig with the car driving, and behind the rig is basically a long, low platform.
Okay.
And then the platform could be 20, 30 meters long, and the performer can run along that platform, but it's being dragged. The whole rig is moving. So it's sort of like, well, I was going to say it's like moving on a travelator at the airport. I guess it kind of is. So essentially what's happening is that this character in relation to that moving vehicle is gaining on it because the vehicle's not moving, but the whole rig is moving in relation to the background. But they will do it. They'll do a whole big rig, and they're going through an actual real tunnel. And then the shot and the thing, and then they do the digital erasure of the magic carpet rig and everything else around it, which should only be a little more sophisticated than wire removal for kind of wire-fu sort of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon style effects. But it just, I can't look at those scenes and see it. Like, even though I know that it's really happening, I look at it and it looks fake. And that's surely the opposite, right?
Yeah.
Is that like now even I know, that's like telling me, that something was real magic and then showing me the trick and me still going, it still looks a bit fake though, even though you've told me that it's actually real magic. Like, I don't know. It's there's something going in the wrong direction there.
Yeah.
But, those VFX artists I do know work incredibly hard for not enough pay and not enough rights. So I'm not, it's not their fault. It's just maybe something about when you've been maybe spoiled by being brought up on live action when there was only live action, and so the best of the best when they were doing it really well looks so spectacular that when there's a modern version of it that is, safer or more cost effective or whatever, I would argue probably only more cost effective if you don't pay your VFX artists properly, but it doesn't give you that gut punch feel. There's risk involved. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon come out. That was 90s as well, wasn't it?
I got confused with that one because I thought I'd seen it, and then Josh put it on a while back, and I didn't recognize. I'm like, I've never seen this movie, and I think it was because there was a time when
you were thinking of Dragonheart, the movie with
Sean Connery playing the
voice
the dragon.
Of
Who was
really
the Slayer?
not great
was that,
CGI.
Was that
Jeremy Irons? Was he in that? Or maybe I'm mixing him up in another fantasy
Why
movie.
have I got?
I'm thinking of the bad guy. But
Why am I thinking of
Billy Zane?
No, it's not Billy Zane. I have got who was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves?
The actor?
Yeah.
Costner. Kevin
Yeah,
Costner.
yeah. It's not Kevin Costner.
It's not Kevin Costner, no.
Are we having a in the line of fire moment? Where can you remember that? Where I swore Black and Blue that In the Line of Fire was Tommy Lee Jones played the.
Oh, I don't remember this
you don't
conversation.
remember this?
No, we're just having a senioritis moment.
It was the first. This is years and years ago. I love that you don't remember this. It was years and years ago, but it was the first moment of me saying this actor was here, and you going what? And kind of having a bit of a chuckle, and then going, wait a minute. And I'd like gaslighted you into thinking that maybe it was, and you became like, we had to find it out because you thought maybe Brendan is right, but it was the first of many instances of you doubting yourself because of me. But it was actually John Malkovich, isn't it?
John Malkovich is the bad guy.
Yeah,
but if you'd ended you could have ended that anecdote with saying, and it turned out I was right. It was Tommy Lee Jones. And I would have just been gaslit. I would have just gone with it again.
I know.
Because I didn't remember the anecdote. And then you, even in your telling of it, had me doubting where it was going to go in the end.
Why have I got Costner on the brain for Dragonheart? I don't know.
I mean, why do any of us have Costner on the brain most of the time?
Yeah.
It's
but
worst things
I'm going to have to look
brain.
that up. But I remember because we were in a video shop. This is how long ago it was. We were in a video shop and we were looking for it. Because I think this might have been, this is before smartphones, so we couldn't look it up. And we were in a video shop to find it so we could see who was in it. And we found it, and it was, John Malkovich. I'm like, why did I think it was Tommy Lee Jones? And I said, there is definitely a movie that Tommy Lee Jones plays the bad guy. I remember it. And
The Siege.
And is he? Oh, I don't even know if I've seen
I'm trying to guess if this is where we're going, where this conversation ended up going.
I ended up thinking, and we said to the girl who was working at the time, and she went back to the computer. She came out, and I'm like, there was a made-for-TV movie, or like a movie that went straight to TV or something called Blown Away.
Oh, Blown Away, yeah.
With Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
And I reckon it was, and as I was saying it, the lass was looking through the thing, and she turned up and she goes, I was looking for that, because she'd gone and looked. I think she'd worked her computer magic and tried to find. But yeah, that was the one I was thinking of.
Goes,
and he was
like guys, it's 10:45. I need you to get out of the shop, guys. This is just
yeah. And I don't know how I got those two confused, but it was like definitely. I think it was because in Blown Away, Tommy Lee Jones is this like explosives genius, and he's put these like this ball bearing sort of like trigger on his mate because there was a bomb squad.
Mercury switches.
Yeah,
they featured heavily in 90s movies. Mercury switches.
That is one of the best episodes of
MacGyver.
You know what I'm saying.
I was there with you. I don't think we've talked about this, though.
Yeah.
But I was just there in your brain at the same time as you.
Yeah. That's a cool episode of MacGyver.
Because what does he do to stop it from tipping? Because Mercury switch, it's like a tip thing.
I think he
Oh, he uses a magnet, doesn't it? No, it's not magnetic Mercury. No, what does he do? He does something.
He actually, they get stuck in the lift. So,
take me through it. Take me for a journey.
So MacGyver has this protege who's like at college, and they're having like a gadget-a-thon or something. Like, and the project for these college kids is to lock a door with this unconventional lock. And you time how long it takes people to get into it, and his protege makes the best one, and no spoilers about what he does, but it's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
And then but he loses because
they haven't seen it now.
Yeah, okay. So the guy, his enemy, his is clocks. They don't. Murdoch. No, Murdoch's not in this episode.
It wasn't a Murdoch.
It wasn't a Murdoch. But his like the mean student. His is got clocks, and it won't open until the clock reaches. And so the way that he beats it is to up the voltage or something and have the clock run faster. But the cool kid, the nice kid, MacGyver's protege. MacGyver's got a million proteges. They all like everybody knows MacGyver, and everyone's got a backstory with MacGyver. But none of them was me, damn it, yet. But MacGyver's mate, his was like a periscope that looked into a small scale model of the room because they had the peephole, and so if you look in the peephole, you had a garage door opener to lock it. But if you look into the peephole and press it, it's the opposite. So he had a miniature miniature barricade that pressed up against the door when the real barricade was away from the door, and then when you press the garage door open to press on the door, that one moved away. But you thought you were looking in the room when you were looking in the thing, but it was like this periscope that went down to a small scale model. And but the meanie student cheated and found out that that's what he was going to do, and that's how he beat him. And so this kid went a bit nuts because his was the best, but he was a bit of a sore loser. And he built a bomb, and MacGyver had to. I could have just started with he built a bomb, but MacGyver had to defuse the bomb, and it was a mercury switch. And they thought, you know what we'll do? We'll freeze the mercury. We'll take it downstairs to the no. I think they were going to send it to the sub basement, because there was no way. He goes, and I remember the line was, MacGyver said, "You get an A on this project, kid," because the bomb was so unstoppable. But because you couldn't, it was in a glass case, and even the screws were wired.
Yeah, I do remember that detail because he goes to start trying to undo the screws, and he has to go. Wait. See there's like wires connected to the screws.
And so they're like, look, there's nothing we can do. This is going to go. We're going to take this. We're going to send this bomb down to the sub basement so it won't kill anyone. And so they're taking it to the elevator, and they put a dustpan, jam it in the door so that they can slowly wheel this bomb in that has the mercury switch, and the mercury's in a dish with all these wires pointing into it. So if it connects any two wires,
and it has to like bump over the gap in the elevator, and it's like, ooh,
And but when doing it, what was his mate's name? Oh, the bald guy from his boss, his old boss, his mate.
Yeah,
I've forgotten his name.
Yeah,
I call myself
the head of the
Phoenix fan. Yeah, he was the head of the Phoenix
Foundation. Was that the same actor? He's the same guy that. No, he's also Richard Dean Anderson has also got a bald boss in Stargate, the TV series as well, doesn't he?
He loves a bald boss out, Richard.
But they're two different actors, right? In my head, they're the same actor.
I never saw any.
There's no possible way it could be the same actor.
I liked the movie. I can remember liking the movie when I was a kid, but I never saw any ESG.
With Kevin Costner and Billy Zane.
I think that was it. I think that was it. No, Kurt Russell and James Spader.
Yeah.
I just had to redeem myself a little bit there.
Spader, another example of the voice changing over the decades.
Yeah, big time.
You go back and watch whatever, Sex Lies and Videotape or any of those. There was a whole run of those like sexy Spader, drama, erotic thriller sort of things.
Sexy Spader, look what you've done.
Him and Rob Lowe, I think we're in like at least 2 together. Maybe they were. I don't know.
Good looking men. But knocks the dustpan out. They get stuck in the lift with the bomb. So he has to take it apart. And he's like, well, hold on. If I just get the Swiss Army knife out and open this, I think what he ends up doing is getting 2 wires with lots of voltage in it down to and makes an arc. And I think he and
he rips the wires out of the emergency call box, I reckon,
does
doesn't he?
Yeah, possibly.
I feel like that's
he evaporates the mercury or something. He does something with the thing so that it.
You might just be creeping into you're making this up where this episode is going.
Maybe.
I was with you up until then, but I'm with you all the way.
No, he's upset.
Like if you're now just fan fictioning a MacGyver episode, I'm there with you. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy about it.
But the cool that
you brought in the word sublimating.
Yeah, the kid. I don't think it is actually sublimating, because sublimating is when you go from solid straight to gas, I think.
How does that work? What does that mean?
I don't know. I think it's just like the phase change. The energy is sufficient that it skips a phase because you've given.
Is that what happens when a bomb explodes? Like when a solid TNT or something explodes? Because that turns into a big expanding thing of gas.
Yeah.
Without going through a liquid. But that's more of a. That's not a state change, though, is it? That's not ice turning into steam. You did teach me a lot about steam the other week on the pod. We might be hitting the limits of your steam knowledge.
I
maybe.
Don't know what the necessary conditions for sublimation.
Do you know what the sufficient conditions are?
MacGyver episode.
Yes. Well, this is super mind stretches or sublimine stretches or sublimation stretches.
Can be.
Where I, Ben Crisp, and you, Brendan Williams, and Sans Tom Crisp, we're thinking of you, Tommy boy.
Thinking of you,
Tom. Out
Tom.
there in the ether. Famously now proved to not exist ether. That was one of the components of the general relativity theory. But Supermind Stretches, where, of course, we watch clips from MacGyver. And what if we just did that while Tom was away? We just turned it into... We could
do both. Why?
I think so. It could be a segment of this show that we could just start introducing.
That is great.
Why not? Because it's definitely in the same ballpark, isn't it?
Yeah.
And having said that, what would we do first? Should we flip a coin?
To complete the circle on... the other cool line.
It was a 2-part episode. So what was the second?
No, the kid who made the bomb, great performance, and he's really creepy. He's in like a chair and he's like, "I made a bomb, MacGyver," and it was a really
the more details you give that. As soon as you do that, I'm remembering the episode as well.
And he was like this evil laugh, and I can remember watching a lot of MacGyver, which by today's standards, I'm sorry, it is a bit of a slog sometimes. Some of the episodes are very silly, but that episode, I can remember going, this is cool. And that's a cool performance. And the reason I was talking about that was because we were talking about mercury switches, because I think I got confused with Blown Away and In the Line of Fire, because John Malkovich has a really cool compactable plastic gun, and it's like this awesome invented gun that he can get through, and then bullets that go into the keychain, and the springs and the bullets for his guns go into the Lucky Rabbit's foot keychain to get through the airport. And there's sort of like cool baddie technology in Blown Away too, with Tommy Lee Jones in the old ship at the end with lots of Rube Goldberg bomb things going off.
And he tests his gun when he goes out to that park, and there's a couple of guys out there or out to the river or whatever, and these guys kill a duck in front of him. And they're like, "What are you doing, man?" He's like, "Why'd you shoot those ducks?" And he kills them, blows them.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, I do love a duck.
I tried to see if there was any Mercury-related curiosity show, but I guess being a kids' show, maybe it's not.
We already did one, didn't we?
Was there a
sort
Mercury
of like
one?
we did the thermometer one the other day?
Oh,
and they
yeah,
were
that's
talking about how
right.
some are mercury and some
That's
are
right.
some
That's
are,
right.
some are alcohol.
Well, there you go. So we've already done it. All
Yeah.
right. This clip is called "Amazing Homemade Jumping Beans."
Oh,
do you know this one?
I think I do.
Okay.
This is a Rob one, isn't it?
It is a Rob one. I've got no ad filter on this, so we're just going to get the This ad has come on a few times on YouTube, and that
Sounds very
that
relaxing.
music, I feel like that's a garage band default track.
Very possibly.
That's why I know it.
That ain't.
Ever heard of Mexican jumping beans? They really exist. They're real beans and they do jump. There's a little beastie inside that makes them move around to make the bean get out of the hot sun. But you can make your own. You can make them in a couple of ways. The first way is pretty easy if you can get the stuff. If you go down to a chemist, you might find that they'll sell you empty drug capsules. They're made of gelatin, and normally, of course, they're packed with medicines and things. But if you're lucky, you can find a chemist who'll sell them empty, or at least provide you with one or two. And all you have to do is to get preferably a largish one, pull those two halves apart because they slide into each other, get a ball bearing that is going to be a loose fit, but not too loose, and you can see it sits in the bottom of that capsule, and slide the cap on again. And if you want to, seal it up with glue. And you can see because that capsule's got round ends and a heavy weight inside it, as you try and move it, it flips end to end. The heavy weight makes it tumble over itself. So if you put it on a slope, it should jumping bean its way down. Let's have a look. Here it goes.
Oh,
Well, that's going pretty fast because it's a big one, and the big ones really do work better than the smaller ones. But you can try them with different sizes and set a whole lot going and see how they perform. Here we go. A whole fleet of trained jumping beans going down the slope. You notice the bigger ones go faster and rather better than the little ones. Well, if you can't get one of those capsules, don't despair, because there's another way of making these, and in some ways it's even better. You go to aluminium foil and you make sure before you start that you've got quite a large ball bearing. Remember, larger is better. One about that size is pretty well ideal. And put that aside for the next step, which is to find a stick just a bit bigger in diameter than the ball. That pen would possibly do, but it looks a little bit close for comfort. This doweling, I think, is just right. You'll notice it's a little bit bigger than the ball. We're going to make a tube around the doweling, and the ball has to slide freely in it, and so I think that's the size to pick. What do we make the tube from? Namely, aluminium foil. Here, I've doubled the thickness over to make it a little bit stronger, and I want a strip of that double thickness, I suppose about so wide, and I suppose about as long as that. And I wrap that tightly as I can around the stick that I've chosen. If you don't do it tightly, then it's going to come unstuck on the ramp, the ball bearing will run out of it, and your tumbler simply won't tumble. There we are, a good tight tube.
Can't have that.
And once you're happy that it's got no wrinkles left in it like that, slide it to the end, keep it tight around the stick, and just crimp that end over by pressing it in with your finger. It doesn't have to be greatly crimped, but it should be enough to seal that end over, close the tube off, and in fact hold the whole thing together. That should be about right. Now I can slide it off, and I should find that the ball bearing drops down very loosely inside, and it does.
This is a tricky
This
bit.
is tricky.
Yeah.
Poke this end in, crimp it with your fingers.
How recently did you watch this? Because you knew it was a Rob. You know some of the lines in it.
The ball can't come out. In fact, so that you can't see a hole down inside. Now that wouldn't tumble as it is because it's too rough and it's all a bit bent. We have to hammer it so that those ends are rounded like the capsule. You do that by putting the whole thing into a matchbox. It should fit into the tray like that. Put the cover on and shake it very vigorously back and forth. Now, while you're doing that, especially corner to corner, it means that the ball bearing is going to hammer at the inside of that tube and round the ends out. Also mean that it's going up and down the tube and there's no
You would
chance
think
of
it would
sticking.
crush it,
When
but
you
of
take
course
it out, it should look rather like that. Hasn't unwrapped, it's got rounded ends, and I think that'll perform pretty well. Let's give it a test. Over to the ramp, set it up there, and let it go. And it goes like a ripper.
That would make
goes so well, and
my
it's so
nephews
heavy, you can
laugh
tow
a
bit of
lot.
weight.
The
So
way
if you
that
make
moves.
a good one, a good strong one, you can stick onto it a little face. Be
Oh,
careful not to crush
I
it
was
with
just
your
going to
fingers.
suggest the face
Lightweight
would
paper body.
actually.
Set it up there.
He's got a body
Give it
on there
push,
as well, a
and
little
you've got
paper
your
body.
Erratic tumbling man.
I mean, that is hilarious.
That is objectively funny.
A final word about jumping beans.
Still going.
Because you can use those or the aluminium type in a little puzzle you can make. It's an old puzzle called The Five Babies and the Nursemaid. To start with the box. If you use the big aluminium ones, use
Five
box.
babies and the
Little
nursemaid?
capsules,
Is
use a
that?
little box.
Yeah.
I'm using a little one
I
because
knew
it's
you'd
easier
love
to show
that.
you. You cut it down to make a tray, and inside that you stick cardboard partitions like this. 5 beds for the babies, and 1 up here on the wall for the nursemaid. All I did was to get a cardboard matchbox cover, cut it up, and stick them together like that. But it's easy enough to work out a way of doing those. 5 beds and 1 on the side. Then into that, you plonk your jumping beans. And as you might have guessed, you have 5 babies, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 nursemaid. If you want to make it a lot harder, take one of those out and replace it with a slightly different coloured or sized nursemaid. The object of the game is to move them around so the nursemaid ends up in there and the baby ends up in each of those beds. Of course, it's rather like the old roller ball round sort of puzzle, but they tumble instead of rolling. It's a lot harder, as you can see. They move as they did down the slope. Of course, they can easily fall out of there or be knocked off by people who want a jumping bean of their own. So it's best to seal it off with either a bit of shirt box cover to make a clear plastic finish, or if you can't get that, an old plastic bag stretched over and taped will be fine. And it's a sealed game, and it will take you a lot of time and effort to get them in the right beds.
I want to know. Curiosity.
You notice you said a whole fleet of jumping beans? That
Fleet of
little
jumping-
bit of
yeah.
naval
Yeah,
terminology
yeah,
always
nice.
coming in.
Nice.
He could be from any era.
He's
Rob.
timeless.
Whereas Dean feels modern, at least in the contemporary sense of what he's talking about.
I would agree with that.
And yet somehow Rob, and like it doesn't hurt when he drops expressions like
An old
the
soul
babies
in
and the
any time.
nursemaid. His turns of phrase just before he started going nuts with the matchbox and shaking it around.
Yeah, that was.
I was thinking this could be one of those ASMR, like you could just fall asleep listening to his voice, just that
I love it.
steady voice explaining things to you.
The matchbox thing I didn't see coming.
So
like
he put it
hammering
in there. He's shaking it. So
rather than just kind of like gently doing it yourself,
and just kind of rounding out the edges to
the
make that
edges of
nice,
this
pleasant jelly bean.
fragile
end.
aluminium tube that you've made to house a ball bearing.
But how was that technique discovered? Because
That is a great question.
who that is so specific.
Yep.
That must be a miniaturization of some other mechanical
Yeah.
process of rounding
Yeah.
things. Because there's no way I can't. As he was
Like
doing
a
it, I
rock
was thinking,
tumbler or something.
right? Yeah. It's got to be taking some other principle because there's no way that has just been a common technique for rounding the edges of small pieces of aluminium for years and years. 'Cause, like the other thing is, okay, we're going to make that classic game, the 5 babies and the nursemaid that we've all heard of. But then he's like, oh, it's a bit like that other game with the ball that rolls around. I'm like, well, that's a game that we know, the ball that rolls around. I was thinking that's the one, but why isn't there a name for that? Or at least why is the name for that not as on the tip of your tongue, Rob, than this 5 babies and the nursemaid?
I knew you'd love that. Yeah.
Cover it with a piece of plastic from an old shirt box. I've never... and there's been at least a couple of times in my life where I've thought I really need a piece of just clear plastic.
Yeah.
Why have I never thought? I even used to work in a shop selling those shirt boxes.
Yeah.
And I've never made the connection until now that if you wanted a bit of decent,
Clear,
hard plastic of that kind of, thicker than cellophane, but thinner than like Perspex. Something that's like foldable, a plastic cover from one of those ring binders or something like that. But a shirt box, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Especially because he's using it as a lid on a box already as well. What a great idea. Not that I'm buying shirts from boxes very often because I don't wear collared shirts as much these days, but also it's got to be a thing, hasn't it, where it's it's not as a shirt that comes in a box with a plastic cover. I bet is a little more down market than a nice shirt from like a fancy shirt shop, wouldn't you say?
I reckon you'd get them with your.
You're more of a fashionista than me.
That's not. Yeah,
you put more care into what you buy and wear and put on yourself than I do.
Sometimes.
Partially, I'm a married man.
I mean, look at me though. I'm currently wearing my high vis workwear. So
I bet you bought it though for yourself.
I did.
Yeah,
but from Aldi though.
I'm wearing a jumper.
Speaking of, I did get this from Aldi, and this little material tag on the zip, little helper tag. So you've got this. It's like just a zip up.
Yep.
High vis hoodie thing. And I've had this for years.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a little cushiony material tag that you would have torn off moons ago.
I don't take this the wrong way, but having known you for a long time, I would have thought you would have chewed that off a long time ago.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
Maybe not these days.
I'm more of a grown up these days, a little bit. But I cannot believe it's still there.
Yeah.
And this is Aldi.
There you go. They're a sponsor, aren't they?
I think so. Well, they can be.
They they send us an assortment of whatever's left over in the middle section.
Yeah. Oh, so, man, I would be all about that. I live for their middle section.
Oh, yeah. You get like 3 dog beds and an indoor space heater.
My dad knows the day of the week where they put the new stuff out in the middle, and he's always there straight away.
Yeah. It does not surprise me about your dad, and it is not a bad little life hack, I would say.
Yeah,
because the stuff that ever I've seen there that's been left over has been semi-decent, but I can imagine there's some eagle-eyed hawks that are out there in the morning looking for it. Zips and zippers in general are something that we should learn more about, I reckon. That is a design that has lasted and hasn't really been updated. What's the company? ZYY? What's the thing? Ooh. What's the famous company that makes zips or has the patent for zips?
I don't know.
Am I just thinking ZY because it sounds like a zipper? I think it's ZZY or ZYY.
Wow.
It probably says it on at least one of the zips on one of the articles of clothing that you or I are wearing. I'm going to inspect. I've got a pair of jeans that I also did not purchase for myself. Oh, well, mine says SAB, so that just gets rid of that theory. But
SAB.
Yeah.
I was like of an embarrassingly advanced age before I realized that you can lock the zip, or you can like kind of put a break on it. Like I would always, zip up the fly. Can we talk about flies on this podcast?
We can talk about flies.
Zip up my fly, and then sometimes it would find its way back
south
down
again
on some certain. I found it on certain jeans, just the cut or whatever. It would and someone at the
usually on your way into a job interview or
usually. And I was at the pub once, and somebody pointed it out to me. I'm like, oh God, sorry. I'm like these jeans. It always happens with these jeans.
Did they use a euphemism?
Probably. Yeah, they probably.
What's your go-to?
Flying low or
garage doors
low.
open.
Garage
Have you had
doors
that
open.
one?
Yeah. No, that one.
I haven't had flying low. Flying low makes sense. Yeah.
But he just kind of. I said, "Oh, it always happens with these jeans for some reason." He goes, "Did you lock it?" I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, because I would always
let me just show you something."
I just casually zip it up
down
and
for
let
you.
go. I just casually zip it up and let go. But if you put the extra effort into pushing the tag down,
oh, I see.
It's actually there is a mechanical thing in the zip that especially you see it especially in cushion zips.
Yes.
Because sometimes they lose their taggedy-do.
Yeah.
And you got to put the old safety pin in.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they've got a lock on them so they don't go unless you're pushing down. Okay. So you'll notice in the old cushion ones, you got to put the safety pin in and then kind of push the safety pin down, because on the inside of the eyelet through which the safety pin or zipper handly tag thing goes, there's a mechanism hidden in there that when you push it down, it allows to move freely among the teeth.
That I did not know.
Whereas if you don't push it down, it'll snag, and you will be able to force it, but it's harder. And it's designed to have that little lever inside, tiny little thing, push down so it can zip up or closed or open. And the thing is, with the tag, with the little hanger off classic zipper tag. So
that one wouldn't have it. The one you're holding now
I don't
on
think
your.
it needs it. It's just a free little on my jacket.
Exactly. So it would have to be with the ones where you can feel that sort of like
there
satisfying.
is the actual. It's actually a cam. There's a cam.
Okay.
On the tag that when it's down, it has disengaged the lever inside the eyelet. But when you lift it up, and perpendicular to so the tag's facing out away, the cam on the loop of the tag that goes through the eyelet is now acting to press down the little doodly doo that frees it up for movement. Not all zips are like that. Cushion ones are, and turns out a lot of jeans ones are.
Yeah, and jeans do have that.
So if I got fast and loose and racing out of the loo, zipped up but didn't actively then go and push the tag
who
down.
has time for that these days?
I know. Then you're a one-way ticket to flying low in 45 minutes. Whereas if you take the extra time to just kind of tuck it away, which is more comfortable anyway, tuck it away and push it down as far as it can,
then the garage door will be closed.
She
unless you're
brakes
looking through a
engaged.
periscope and it wasn't actually closed.
That's
it was just
right.
a fake one.
And then you lose the competition.
It does. When you were describing the mechanism, I was thinking of the ring pull cam that you also educated me on with the double lever action, because there's something similar to the zip.
These little mechanisms in plain sight.
Well, I feel like zips might be one of those things where there's like one company that has the patent on it, and every zip is somehow related to that. I know. I remember listening to I think I've talked about how I built this with Guy Raz. I think it might have been an episode of that where they were talking to a fellow. He wasn't the guy himself, but he was relaying the story of someone he knew, because I think he'd come up in a Chinese factory as a factory worker in China, and he was given this as an illustration because there was many of these kinds of stories that he was talking about, where a very astute, very intelligent person on the line at the factory would go in each day and look at the machinery that they're working on and just mentally reverse engineer it as they were working on the factory line. And every day that he would go home and sketch another part of the machine. And eventually he went away and was able to essentially recreate the machine himself, or at least recreate the design, or improve it, and then go to another factory and sell them the design for his improved version of the machine that he worked on at this factory. And one of the stories he talked about was the machine to create, for a second I was going to say aglet, but that's the end of a shoelace, isn't it? There's probably some name for this thing, but it's the little hook. It's a sort of, it's like a style. You could almost see it as a stylized, squished S shape.
Okay.
It's not quite a squished figure eight because it's got open loops on it, but it is the adjuster on a bra, like on a brassiere, right? That little plastic.
Oh, yeah,
tag.
I know what you're saying.
Completely innocuous little thing, doohickey. But he sold the patent, or he owned the patent on he basically patented the design of that and the machine to make it, and then became like a multi-millionaire or billionaire or whatever, because it but anyone that was basically manufacturing this thing, which really had to use pretty much that design because there wasn't really a better design, but it was enough of a design to be able to be copyrighted. He was able to I think it was like a rags to riches kind of story for this person. But it just makes me wonder, and I'm sure there's, people like, your co-host Marty Vanderweyer over on the Hammerbarn Project is trained in industrial design, so he always had good insights into this kind of thing. But just the fascinating small things like that.
Yeah.
Right? So what you're describing a zipper, which seems to be such a simple mechanism, but just does the function that it does very effectively, hasn't really been improved on in terms of, I guess there's other ways to fasten material, but can you do it as simply or as cheaply or as it also has to be sort of intuitive to use as well. Now you got me wondering whether my kids' baby sleep suits have that lock on them.
Okay.
Because there's a certain age at which we have to flip the sleep suit around. So the zip's no longer at the front, it's at the back, which I guess you could always just put it at the back. But you just for convenience sake, because you're often picking the baby up or unzipping them and zipping them, you want to do it facing their face. But then they get canny. They just tip over when they notice you doing it enough and they've got enough of a sense of what's going on that they start doing it themselves. They start unzipping their own, like getting out of their own sleep suits or whatever. So I wonder if they are the lockable type. It's one of those things where I've certainly noticed the satisfying feel of a slightly, pick your words carefully here, Ben. I was about to say something about slightly stiffer mechanism down on my trouser flies, but there's got to be a better way to say that.
Well, I think the one additional piece of information that I should give about, though, what I've discovered, this is all just from trial and error with different zips.
Tell us what you've discovered about your flies.
Well, it's actually the beanbag zips that are very important because anyone who knows anything about the little polystyrene beads, you don't want any of them getting out into the universe because, oh my God, what a nightmare. You'll never clean them up. They're awful. And all it takes
if you're a dog
is
owner, especially.
when you're filling up a beanbag, all it takes is just like pressing the beanbag in the wrong way and you've inadvertently caused a gust of air that sends a jet stream of beanbag beans across the room. But the thing about those ones is I think a lot of them don't even come with the zip because like they're designed to be easy to close because I think the brake works it engages on the opening but not the closing. So it's like almost like a ratchet mechanism.
Right.
So whether or not you've got the little lever engaged inside the eyelet, you can still close it. You can zip it closed, but it won't come back the other way unless you get that thing in and depress the lever. And because you just don't want that coming open at any time. I got my method for filling bean bags. I had to fill a couple of bean bags at one point. And what I do now is I put the bag of beanbag beans entirely within the fabric, and then I reach.
You get inside
the
bag with it?
I reach inside and I make an incision on the bag almost all the way across, very slowly, very gently, so as to not to create any upward gusts. And then the larger the split, completely concealed within the beanbag. The fabric beanbag is now wrapped entirely around the plastic bag of beanbag beans, and then gently turn the plastic bag of beanbag beans upside down within the fabric beanbag, and then gently jiggle. And so now the hole is actually right down the bottom. And then you jiggle the sheet out.
Brendan is making a teabag jiggling motion with one hand.
Some beans will stick to the inside of the bag. That's collateral damage.
Stickers. Bag stickers, we call them.
What you can then do, if you're confident, is make another incision at the top to allow air to get in the top for faster exit of the beans at the bottom. But you should be able to, I have managed to do it without losing a single bean, remove the plastic sheath.
How were you certain you did not lose a single bean?
Can't be. Can't be certain, but I'm pretty sure I was able to do it.
Stories losing beans by the second as we interrogate
trying
this.
To pour it in. I mean, if you've got someone to help you, should.
That's a solid strategy.
Yeah,
that was very good.
I was doing it solo, so my one of my favorite stories about beanbags is my brother my brother used to work at Kmart, And he anyone who knows the Anko brand or the Kmart brand, the beanbag.
Jeez, we're giving them all shout outs tonight. In the
yeah. Just email us. The beanbag brand is called Bag of Beans.
yeah.
So and I think they're still sold under the name Bag of Beans, and they're these big 100-liter
beans. 3 words or bag of beans?
Oh, I think it's 3 words.
Apostrophe.
I think it's
missed
bag
opportunity
of beans.
Then.
Yeah. But I think there's these big 100-liter or whatever, or 50-liter bags of beanbag beans, and someone was buying 2 of these bags once, and my brother was at the register, and the barcode wouldn't work or something. So I think he had to do a price check, and he said a price check on 2 big bags of bag of beans, beanbag beans. And I often, whenever I'm filling a bean bag, I always think of that story. Price check on 2 big bags of bag of beans, beanbag beans.
Did you ever have the Book Full of Beans when you were a kid? There was this great book called Book Full of Beans, and it was a kind of Where's Wally style book where it was just edge to edge, full page illustrations. Of just beans, like essentially jelly beans, like all different multicolored beans that had faces.
This is starting to ring more of a bell.
And there was a space page and there was a castle page. And Where's Wally has a really pleasing aesthetic to it. But this Book Full of Beans also had its own really, really pleasing aesthetic to it as well. There's something about the classic kids illustration. It's the imperfection thing. It's the sort of this idea of them being hand sketched and hand drawn and you could just sort of see the pencil sketches and marks. It's a great book though. I'm gonna track it down again. This Book Full of Beans. We've had a really beanie episode, which is good. Do you wear beanies?
I don't wear beanies. Maybe I'll get into beanies.
You do. What are the flat caps? Is your thing?
Yeah, I love a this is a newsboy. I love a newsboy. I do like a good
Newsies
flat cap.
Next.
Newsies. I don't know anything from Newsies. I don't know any songs from Newsies.
No, me neither. Let's pretend that let's make
it
up. Newsies, where the Newsies?
Where the Newsies?
Hey, what's extra? Hear all about it. Where the Newsies? We don't know what era this musical is from, so we don't know what we should be referencing.
I'm not sure how old I'm supposed to be. I think it's about kids, but I've got a big beard.
And the labor laws mean that I'm 45, but pretending to be a 16-year-old.
I can't even read. Why am I selling newspapers? Someone had to tell me what's on the name.
Franz Ferdinand assassinated the Archduke. Have you heard? Have you heard?
We are narrowing down the
Challenger disaster. Oh, have you heard?
No, we're not.
We don't know where.
I saw on a YouTube video of this news outlet that I listen to, the Bulwark, the American news, and in the background he's got like a book on his shelf that's the complete front pages of the New York Times from like 1850 through to 2009. I thought, that'd be a good present idea for someone, for a 40th or something.
That would be cool. There's you can get the New Yorker magazine. You can get the entire digital archive of the New Yorker, which is interesting because they
fit on a.
I think it's a hard disk. I think it's you basically get a hard, or it's probably a digital download or something now. But same as we got the entire digital catalog of the National Geographic.
Oh, wicked!
And they're interesting because they go right back to they're like a block printed newsletter kind of thing in the 1800s. Like the National Geographic, it was like I guess it was a newsletter for the members of the Geographical Society or something before it became kind of just a mainstream public magazine eventually. But the New Yorker has got all these sort of it's a really interesting. It got recommended to me years ago in a writing workshop because it's such an interesting. It's not newspapers. It's the New Yorker. So it's editorial kind of essays and opinion pieces of the goings on of the day.
Yeah.
So
I can picture the the font on the cover, the New Yorker.
Yeah. So it's just a different style, I think.
Yeah.
We're a little way on from your beanbag filling story, but you had so many evocative turns of phrase that I was just thinking about a listener who, and let's face it, maybe this is just our model listener skipping through the podcast, going, I'll just 30 seconds on, 30 seconds on. I'm pretty sure they would have got. And just another thing about my flies, and then skipping on to, so you just reach down and make a small incision, and then skipping forward to, and then there's just a gust of air, and then you just make another incision, and then it's just you're getting a lot of worrying out of context.
Sure, I'll try and learn from that.
No, I think we do more of it. That's my point. Yeah,
that's
please.
what I mean. Learn from it, and
I think
amplify.
we just need to insert forcefully evocative turns of phrase that out of context as someone skipping through are frightening to the listener.
Yeah.
Are we going to watch a MacGyver clip?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Should we watch that one? Because that's kind of piqued my interest. Or do I just surprise you with a rando clip? We kind of want...
Yeah, surprise me.
Wheel of MacGyver?
Wheel of MacGyver.
And now, can you give us, while I'm looking it up, can you give us like a little impro theme song for this segment?
And there it goes on.
Mate, I found this clip ages ago. I just was letting you go. It always, in sort of the same way that Al Pacino morphs into Pumbaa for me, the MacGyver theme, if I went to try and do it, morphs into the Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Yes,
theme for me, I think.
I'll pay that 100%.
Yeah?
Chippendale Rescue Rangers. Chippendale when there's danger.
There you go. There's a mashup for the ages that we need. I mean, I was going to suggest if someone listening could do that, but you surely you've got the skills. You've got the musical mashup skills. All right. Oh, another ad.
Oh, what do we got?
Zyrtec. Hay fever season.
Faster than a Zyrtec.
Oh, Z's the day.
Z's the day, right.
I was thinking that's not a very good slogan for a hay fever coming out. Then when I read it with the Z, I got it. But did she pronounce? She didn't really pronounce the Z there, did she? Maybe it's just the audio on this. Z's the day.
Z's.
She's done her best.
Might want to pass the time. Cut yourself a little elbow room.
This is the very first episode.
Ah, really?
Yep.
Okay, so we're up in the mountains in a pine forest.
This is the pilot.
Just thrown.
That was a risky move there, Mac.
He just threw a
pocket knife
off
at someone.
camera, and it wedged into the log bars of this makeshift cage that this guy's been captured in.
I'd always heard in riding horses, it was the horse that did the sweat. But I wasn't even on it yet. You could have wrung enough out of me to water the lawn.
He's unpegging a military tent. There's footsteps coming.
Oh my gosh, a bomb.
There is a missile or a bomb. Why is he dressed as like a Russian Cossack?
First, try jumping on her back, and you might just as well strap yourself to a rocket.
Okay. He's getting ready to do something to this unguarded missile that's got its own tent.
An unguarded missile.
Coming up in a little leather case of gadgets. What's he got here? Lockpicks?
A convenient access panel.
There was a definitely a it was just a little leather toolkit.
Yeah.
The classic flashing red light. That means that the bomb is active, Brendan.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Look of concentration. Handsome man, young.
Oh, yeah.
He's
He
activated
set
a
off
timer.
a timer.
He only had 30 seconds. Time is ticking away. All right, what's this tool? Pliers? No. Yep.
That didn't do it.
No.
He snipped
Wrong
a wire.
wire.
I mean,
No, we went past 007.
he's got a paper clip.
Oh, cutting it fine there, Mac.
1
second
second
to go.
left.
MacGyver.
And then they played the sort of title card with an explosion on it, and I was worried for a second that it exploded, but it was just the MacGyver logo.
That's what they're making us think, I reckon. They were just sort of luring us in. The fact that there was a voiceover while he does that kind of undercuts the tension a little, doesn't it? That kind of gives us a sense of that.
Yeah. I wonder if they kept doing that. I don't think they did that.
I feel like there was always voiceover at the beginning of every episode.
Yeah.
That's kind of
a lot of the time there was. Yeah.
He's always telling a story about what is something his dad taught him.
Yeah.
Dad always taught me. Dressed up like a Russian Cossack and you're throwing knives at your co-pilot. Sneak in and defuse a bomb with 1 second left to go. I don't think context would help me with that clip. That clip was called My Trusty Paperclip.
My Trusty Paperclip was the name of the
Paperclip. Another amazing design.
That sounds like a Curiosity Show segment episode.
Yeah, next week we look for a paperclip related.
I love it, Ben. I love it.
See, this is what I meant. It's a natural back and forth. They're two sides of the same coin. MacGyver and
love MacGyver so much.
In another world, there would have been like a scripted, like Australian TV show, and Dean would have been an action hero in it. Because we've sort of talked about Rob being the Q of the James Bond thing. I don't know. The more I'm seeing of Rob, he could be. So who would they play? Like if you're going to cast Rob and Dean as. All right, we'll do it both ways. If Rob and Dean were going to play action heroes, who would they really fit? I think, and I know we've done the classic Death Wish just for the look of Dean, but I guess we're going more nuanced now.
Yeah. Okay. In the sort of like Starsky and Hutch analogy, I can't remember which one's Starsky's, which one's Hutch, but I think Rob would be even though like hair color would swap him, but Rob would be the Ben Stiller one, because he's sort of like more sort of like by the book and like more sort of rigid and formal, but there'd be something about like his car is really important, and when it would like it that kind of like that he was the one with the car.
Yeah, and you've got the better take on this. The classic pairings, who is who.
Yeah.
And so Dean, of course, would be
but it's
Honey
like
Bear.
So yeah. And so
played by Snoop Dogg, I think, in that one.
Dean would be the cool like ladies man all the time, and like be like, hey man, you got to be less by the rules, and Rob would be like, nah, you've got to be by the rules. But then when you get not on in a car this time, but on the boat. When you get onto the the sailing vessel, all of a sudden Dean's kind of like, hey man, I'll hand it over to you, and Rob's the sort of like,
I like this.
Hoist the mate, like, and he.
But then every now and then he surprises you, right?
Yeah.
What's a sailing rule? Like smaller vessel, you give way to smaller vessel or something like that.
Yeah.
But then Rob just like ramrods, the enemy boat, and Dean's like, "What was all that about?" Like rules are meant to be broken.
Yeah. Big time.
Here we go. We could. I think I want to watch this.
Yeah.
Because then then the flip side was going to be, who do we cast? All right, well, we're making the Curiosity Show feature film today, but they can't play themselves. Love the boys, but I think they've got to be, we need actors to be playing the young versions of them. So the real Rob and Dean have a cameo, of course. They'll appear in it.
All right.
But it's the Curiosity Show.
How old?
Rob
what
and
age?
Dean are presenters of a science show, but then they actually get wrapped up in a it's like a Spies Like Us. They sort of get sent on a wacky caper action mission because they've got the skill. It's sort of like right guys at the wrong place, right time sort of thing.
Sure.
Well, I don't know. We can give it a range.
Mm-hmm.
We want this thing to. Do we go? Are we going real like? Is Timothy Chalamet and like? Are we doing like the hot young actors of now that we're trying to get this thing cast, or are we?
Well, look. I would swap them in terms of who I just cast, but I would cast Owen Wilson and Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller would be Dean.
Okay.
And Owen Wilson would be Rob.
Yeah.
But a little younger, a little more now.
Yeah.
What would we say? I don't watch much contemporary stuff these days. My sister would be better at this.
I know. It'd be some TikTok star, wouldn't it, playing them now if we were really trying to get this thing made. If we were trying to get it bankrolled, this has got to be a budget's north of 150 mil, I think, for something like this. We really got to do it right. Pull out all the stops.
I reckon
I want real effects. Real stunts. I don't want, visual effects. So that's going to be more expensive these days.
Could you do a Rupert Grint as Rob? And Daniel Radcliffe as Dean.
People would watch that.
People would watch the heck out of that.
When are those two going to pair up in something? Have they done anything?
This is when.
We know they must be listeners to the pod.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I think we've got at least 2 listeners in the UK. Do they live in the UK?
Yeah.
If we had exactly two listeners in the UK, probably them. It's probably. Daniel Radcliffe and Rupert Grint.
You could bet your house on it.
So, fellas, if you're listening, we're just get in contact, supermindstretchers@gmail.com. The script is as good as written by the time you hear this. And we know that you guys have got a lot of friends in the industry. So if you thought this pitch was a good idea, why don't you?
Try it on your friends.